Hey everyone, I'm Michael. Let me start with a question that might sound a little weird. What if you woke up tomorrow and you were suddenly rich? Maybe one of your investments finally exploded. Maybe that side hustle you started ages ago just took off. Maybe you got a huge inheritance from some distant relative you didn't even know existed. Or maybe you just hit the lottery. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, come on, Michael, that's not me. I'm not winning the lottery. I don't have a rich uncle stashed away somewhere. I'm just grinding it out, slow and steady. And honestly, I get it. But here's something most people don't realize. This channel gets millions of views across hundreds of videos. Statistically, some of you watching right now will end up in this exact situation. I'm not just talking about lottery wins. It might be a sudden windfall, a business you sell, a stock that skyrockets overnight, a crypto bet that hits, a house you bought that suddenly triples in value, or an inheritance you never saw coming. This stuff happens way more often than you'd think. Sudden wealth isn't as rare as people like to believe. But here's the tough part that nobody really talks about. When you suddenly get rich, you're actually way more likely to lose friends, fall out with your family, start drinking or using drugs, or even get divorced than you are to live happily ever after. The numbers on lottery winners are honestly brutal. A lot of them end up worse off than before, bankrupt, addicted, alone, sometimes even dead. It's not a fairy tale, it's a minefield. Most people who get rich fast have no idea how to hold on to it. They've never learned how money really works. They haven't built up the discipline to manage big sums. Suddenly, everyone they know has their hand out, and they're just not ready for the emotional mess, the relationships that get weird, or the financial chaos that comes with all that cash. So tonight I want to give you the 7 things you absolutely need to do if you ever find yourself rich overnight. This isn't just theory. I haven't just read about it or heard it on a podcast. This is coming from someone who's built wealth from nothing, managed it through good times and bad, and watched plenty of people win and lose with sudden money. My name is Michael, and this is Investor Voice. We don't do hype or fairy tales here. We do real talk and real strategies for the real world. So let's dive in. Number 1. This is the big one, and honestly, almost nobody does it. Keep your mouth shut. Don't tell a soul. I know, it's hard. You want to brag, or maybe just prove all those doubters wrong. But really, the smartest move is to keep it secret. Don't tell your best friend. Don't tell your siblings. Don't even tell your parents. Right now, your privacy means everything. You want to be what they call stealth rich. Here's why it matters. There was this guy, Jack Whitaker. Back in 2002, he won $314.9 million in the Powerball lottery, the biggest single-person jackpot at the time. Jack did the exact opposite of staying quiet. He told everyone. He started handing out money to strangers, donated millions to his church, bought friends cars and houses, and got himself all over the news. At first you look at Jack and think, what a generous guy. But then everything goes sideways. His wife walks out, his friends disappear. He gives his granddaughter all the money in the world, and she ends up dying from an overdose. In the end, Jack dies broke and alone. Going public with his wealth ruined him. That's why you keep quiet. The moment people catch wind, relatives you haven't seen in years suddenly want to reconnect. Old friends show up with can't-miss business ideas. Strangers start asking for help. Tell them no, they get mad. Tell them yes, they never stop coming back. Even if you try to keep things under wraps, people notice. You buy a new car, move into a bigger house, word spreads. Suddenly you're getting targeted for robberies, lawsuits, scams. I've seen it happen. People I thought I could trust started reaching out with their hands open. Money doesn't change who you are. It just shows you who everyone else really is. So who do you tell? Honestly, just one person, a good trust attorney. Let them set up a trust to protect your money from taxes and nosy people. Here's something most folks don't expect. Don't quit your job, at least not right away. If your job is toxic, sure, get out, but don't stop working altogether. Find something you actually enjoy. When people quit working, all they do is think about their money. They get bored. Boredom mixed with money, recipe for disaster. They start businesses they know nothing about, buy restaurants with zero experience, throw cash at terrible investments. Before they know it, the money's gone. They end up on Kitchen Nightmares getting roasted by Gordon Ramsay. Being rich and bored leads to bad decisions, overspending, loneliness, depression. If you're working, you're not spending as much. You've got routine, purpose, people to talk to, a reason to wake up. Keep life normal for 6 months. No dream house, no quitting your job. Just sit with the money. Let it grow. Give yourself time to process. Third, pay off high-interest debt. Credit cards at 20 to 30% interest are legal robbery. Paying them off is like earning 25% guaranteed, better than stocks or crypto. Next, handle car loans and personal loans. Mortgages at 2 to 3%, keep them. Invest instead. That's leverage. Rich folks make debt work for them. But when it comes to high-interest debt, don't wait. Pay it off today. That's a guaranteed win. No risk, no drama. Treat any sudden windfall as your chance to wipe the slate clean. Get rid of every ugly, expensive debt you've got. And once you're free, swear to yourself you'll never let that kind of debt creep back in. Learn from it. Move forward. Now let's talk about something way tougher. Dealing with friends and family when you come into money. This is where it gets real. Suddenly, everyone you know has an emergency, a business idea, or just needs a little help. They see your good fortune as something you should share. Maybe they think you didn't even earn it, just luck. Why shouldn't they get a piece? Here's the hard truth. The quickest way to ruin a relationship is to lend money to people you care about. Don't do it. Lending always twists things. even if you don't mean it to. If they pay you back, they might feel awkward or resentful. If they don't, you resent them. Either way, it gets ugly, and the relationship takes a hit. If you say no, sure, they might be mad for a bit, call you selfish, maybe even stop talking to you for a while. But they'll get over it. That's better than losing them for good because of money drama. But what if someone you love is truly in trouble? Let's say your sister's about to lose her house, or your dad needs surgery. Here's my rule, and it saved me a ton of heartache. If you want to help, give the money as a gift. Don't lend, don't expect it back, just give it, with one clear condition. This is a one-time thing, no repeats, ever. That way they know you're there for them in a real crisis, but you're not their safety net forever. It keeps things clean, and it pushes them to handle their own business next time. If you keep bailing someone out, they never learn to stand on their own. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is draw a hard line. Here's the real secret to staying wealthy. Don't touch your principal. Seriously, only spend the interest. People see a big pile of cash and their minds start racing. Cars, houses, vacations, boats. It's exciting until that pile starts shrinking. And then, just like that, it's gone. Don't fall into that trap. Make your money work for you, not the other way around. I'll never forget this story. When my son was little, his friend's family hit the lottery. Out of nowhere, they had millions. They were regular folks, hard workers. Suddenly, they bought a mansion for $10 million, flashy cars, private schools for the kids, luxury vacations. It was wild, like they'd stepped into a dream. But dreams can turn fast. 2 years later, it all came crashing down. Their son got pulled out of private school. Total embarrassment. They sold off the cars, lost money on them. The mansion, they put it on the market for $6.5 million, desperate after bad renovations and mountains of debt. They wound up squeezed into a tiny apartment, angry, resentful, and broke. And it all came down to one thing. They never learned the rule. Make your money work for you. Don't just blow through it. Think about it this way. A hunter goes out, gets a huge meal, eats well for one night, and then it's gone. A farmer plants seeds, cares for them, and keeps harvesting year after year. Be the farmer. That's what your freedom figure is all about. Here's how it works. Figure out how much money you need each year to live the life you actually want. Be honest with yourself. Then multiply that number by 25. That's your goal. So, if you want $200,000 a year, you're aiming for $5 million invested. The trick is simple. Don't ever spend the $5 million. Live off the interest, dividends, and growth. The principal keeps working for you year after year. This is the 4% rule in financial planning. Take out 4% of your investments a year, adjusted for inflation, and your money should last at least 30 years. I like to aim for more growth, just to be careful, but the idea stays the same. Protect your principal. Let it do the heavy lifting. Be the farmer, not the hunter. And look, even if you don't suddenly come into a fortune, figuring out your freedom figure is still worth it. It gives you something solid to work toward, a real number instead of just daydreams about financial freedom. So, what does this actually look like in practice? How do you make those 4% returns without risking it all? The question I hear most is, Michael, where am I supposed to find those kinds of returns? My savings account pays less than 1%. And yeah, your bank isn't there to make you rich. They're using your money to get rich themselves. If you want real growth, you need to invest. That means opening an investing account and building a diversified portfolio. Stocks, bonds, real estate, maybe more. Let's say, just for fun, you somehow get your hands on that $5 million. First off, congrats. Now, how do you make sure it lasts? At this level, it's not about doubling your money with risky bets. It's about protecting what you have and getting steady, reliable growth. Your exact plan depends on your age, risk tolerance, health, and goals. But here's an example of how I might split it up. This isn't advice, just a way to start thinking. I'd put $1 million into a low-cost, total stock market index fund. That gives you a slice of thousands of companies: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, NVIDIA, Google, Meta, the heavy hitters. Over decades, the total market has averaged around 9% per year, though it definitely bounces around. On $1 million, that's about $90,000 a year on average. Not guaranteed, but that's the history. Next, I'd put another $1 million into a low-cost total bond market index fund. Think of a bond fund as a big basket of loans you're making to all kinds of governments and companies. Instead of putting all your money into one bond and hoping for the best, you're spreading it out across a bunch of them. You get regular interest payments, and your risk isn't tied to just one borrower. Bonds are usually seen as safer than stocks. When the stock market crashes, and it will, over and over, bonds help steady the ship and keep the income flowing. Over the long run, broad bond market indexes have kicked out about 4% returns a year. So with $1 million in, you're looking at $40,000 a year in interest. After that, I'd split another $1 million between residential and commercial real estate. $500,000 goes into homes, duplexes, or small apartments in good areas. The other half goes into things like warehouses, retail spaces, maybe some office buildings or storage units. I like this setup because residential real estate tends to go up in value over time. Historically, U.S. housing prices have grown about 7% per year. That's $35,000 a year in appreciation on your $500,000, plus whatever you make from rent. Commercial real estate, on the other hand, is all about steady cash flow. The tenants usually sign long leases, sometimes 10 years or more, and they often take care of the property themselves. Buy wisely, and commercial real estate has historically returned around 8% a year, counting both income and appreciation. That's $40,000 a year on your $500,000 investment. Next up, $500,000 goes into what I call blue chip crypto, mainly Bitcoin, with a bit of Ethereum. Yeah, crypto gets people talking. It's volatile, it's risky, and it's not for everyone. But Bitcoin's performance over the last decade and a half is hard to ignore, and lately it's been getting more mainstream. I think it makes sense to have a small piece of your portfolio in something like this if you really want to diversify. That said, you need to treat it as a high-risk, high-reward bet. 5 to 10% of your total portfolio, nothing more. The big gains of the past aren't guaranteed to repeat, so let's keep expectations in check. Say 10 to 15% average returns, still fantastic if it holds up. On $500,000, that's around $62,000 a year on paper, but be ready for a wild ride with big ups and downs. Then another $1 million goes into a high-yield savings account and short-term treasury bills. Even with millions, you want some cash ready to go. Cash isn't useless. It gives you options. Right now, savings accounts and short-term treasuries are paying about 4.5% and are about as safe as you can get. So $1 million there gets you $45,000 a year, safe and accessible whenever you need it. This is your emergency fund, your stash for surprise opportunities, your cushion for when the markets tank. Add it all up, and this example portfolio could pull in about $312,000 a year in passive income, assuming the markets perform like they have over the long haul. That's way more than the $200,000 we aimed for. Just keep in mind, markets move up and down. Some years you'll make more, some less. On paper, you might even lose money some years. But over time, a diversified mix like this should keep the income rolling in and your wealth growing. You get to live well while your money works for you. One more thing. If you were counting, I've only talked about $4.5 million so far. What happened to the last $500,000? Here's where things get fun. That final $500,000, that's yours to spend. No guilt attached. Seriously, this is your reward. The "you made it" money. Buy something you always wanted, but never let yourself have. Take that big trip. Upgrade your life, help out family, support a cause you care about, or throw a party for your friends. You've taken care of your future. Now it's time to enjoy the present. I've been through this myself, and here's the real lesson. Money isn't about fancy cars, or huge houses, or designer labels. Those things are cool for a little while, but the thrill fades fast. What sticks is freedom. Real wealth means waking up every day and choosing exactly how you want to spend your time. It means you never have to do what you don't want to do. You get to say no to anything that doesn't matter to you. In the end, The real prize is buying back your time, the only thing you can't ever get more of. Don't fall into the same trap as those lottery winners who blow all their money on flashy stuff and end up miserable, lonely, and broke. Forget chasing things that don't really matter. Go after freedom. The people who actually stay rich get it. Time is the real luxury. Money's just the tool that helps you buy it. Once you've taken care of yourself and your family, start thinking bigger. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? What do you care about deeply? Who can you truly help? The happiest, wealthy people I know use their money to make a real difference, not just to buy more things for themselves. They fund scholarships, support the arts, donate to medical research, help out in their communities. They find purpose that goes way beyond their own pleasure. Let me leave you with this. Sudden wealth is a gift, no doubt, but it comes with a huge responsibility. It can set you free, or it can wreck you. The difference? It's all in how you handle it. The 7 steps we talked about tonight, staying quiet, keeping your job at first, paying off high-interest debt right away, never lending money to friends or family, never touching the principal, investing smart in a diversified portfolio, and spending a little on yourself without guilt. These are the guardrails that keep your wealth and your happiness intact. Most people who get rich overnight crash and burn because they ignore this stuff. They get swept up in the excitement and all the attention. They trust the wrong people, make emotional decisions, start thinking they're untouchable. Don't do that. Be smart. Be patient. Be disciplined. Think things through. And here's the best part. You don't need to hit the lottery for these principles to work. They're just as useful for anyone building wealth, whether it's slow or fast. Pay off high-interest debt. Live below your means. Invest in a diversified portfolio. Don't lend to friends. Keep your life normal. Figure out what enough looks like for you and work toward it every day. It's the same truth, no matter how much you make. Thanks for being here tonight. I know your time matters, and I appreciate you sharing it with me. If you got something out of this, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe a friend who just came into money, or a family member always dreaming about winning the lottery, or anyone who needs the reminder that money isn't the goal, freedom is. Send them the link. Talk about it. You might change their life, or even save them from some really bad decisions. And hey, don't forget to hit subscribe and join the Investor Voice community. This is where we get real about what matters for your financial future. Cut through the noise and focus on facts, not hype. Hit the bell so you never miss a session. We're building something real here. A community of people who want to take charge of their financial destiny. I want you to be a part of it. Drop a comment and tell me which of the 7 steps spoke to you. I do read them, and honestly, I love hearing from you. I'm Michael. This is Investor Voice, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself, protect your capital, and remember, wealth isn't about what you have, it's about what you're free to do. Good night, and here's to your financial freedom.